Welcome to Ground Up Growth, where we share entrepreneurial insights, business strategies, and personal growth lessons to help listeners build success from the ground up.
Welcome back to Ground Up Growth. Today we are on episode 14. I've got a good friend of mine, Grant Ridgway, with us. Grant is the first vice president of CBRE, which is a commercial real estate brokerage that is global.
Global.
Not local, but global.
That's right.
Grant, thank you so much for coming on. Ready to unpack your story.
Appreciate y'all having me on.
Tell us how old you are, where you from, how you got going, kids, all that.
Be 40 in November. From Jackson, Mississippi, born and raised. Grew up off Northside Drive in Jackson. Went to high school in Flowood. Went to Mississippi State. 4 great years there. And then I don't know if you want to roll into work where I went after college, but I think that...
Is that mic good?
Yeah, I just turned it up. You can scoot up a little bit.
All right, what were you saying? You went to state for...
Yeah, I went to Mississippi State for 4 years.
What'd you graduate in?
Got a degree in real estate and mortgage finance and a minor in economics.
Oh, you're right up in your alley.
I don't know if I technically filed the paperwork out for the minor or not, so nobody fact checked me on that, but I did take all
You're an
the courses.
overachiever with a minor anyway, so...
Man, it was all the same classes. You just did it, and I figured, well, supply and demand is the name of our game. I may as well get the economics minor while I'm at it. Glad I did it. I mean, it drives a whole lot of what we do today.
Where'd you go to high school?
Jackson Prep.
Oh, what'd you graduate? What year?
04. Graduated with 143, and I think 115 of them went to Ole Miss. I'm kidding. We're going ahead in Starkville.
There you go. Go Dogs. All right. So, you're not much older than me then. What, did you have any jobs growing up?
I did. One of the best life lessons I've had, my dad told me when I was 8, he said, however much money you have when you get your driver's license, I'm going to double it. And that's how much money you got to buy your first truck with.
Ooh, I like that.
And so I got a lawnmower when I was 9 and took my bike with Ziploc bags with a rock and a business card and a little homemade flyer and rode around that neighborhood and threw them out for miles. And by the time I graduated high school, David Davis, a buddy of mine, and I, we cut close to 35 yards a week.
Nice.
Every summer, no taxes, cash.
No taxes,
Great deal.
easy now.
And it was, looking back, did it in the middle of 2-a-days in August with sports between practices, and now about die cutting my
I heard
grass.
you were some star wide receiver or something.
No,
Somebody said that.
Not at all. I was
Wrong, Grant?
150 pounds, soaking wet. Had a good time. Enjoyed sports for sure. I think I played 6 total in high school, but wasn't very good.
I feel like the grass cutting thing, I mean, that's, what a lot of us did growing up, but that really is the best barrier to entry. I mean, your output costs for a mower, assuming you have to buy your own mower, is very nominal, and then you can use it on down the road.
Well, and look, my mom, we had a single cab extended bed F-250, 1990 stick shift, 2 gas tanks on it. And my mom would pick us up every 30 minutes on the button all summer long and drive us from yard to yard.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
great
clutch.
lesson. When I got my license, I was like, Dad, here's how much money I got. I want a new Z71. And he was like, you're nuts. I was like, a deal's a deal.
Deal's a deal.
So,
speaking of deal's a deal with your dad, so your dad's in the business with you as well, which is a really cool...
Correct. Actually 4 generations deep. My great-granddad was selling lots off a horse on West Capitol Street in the 1880s and 1890s.
No way.
Yep. And then
Golly.
my granddad did it, and then my uncles have all been in the game. Bob and Bill still do it. Dad does it.
Primarily commercial, all 4 generations?
Yeah, they did a lot of residential development on the west side of town back in the day, but my dad graduated law school and then got into the appraisal world and did that for 2 or 3 years, and then got into the brokerage world, and then got into the development world. And then 2008 happened, and he rolled back into the brokerage world. And, I thought I was going to work with him coming out of college, and I said, hey, man, what are we going to do? And he was like, you're going to go find somewhere to work and learn the business, and maybe one day come back and add some value. You're not just fixing to ease up in here and make money. Of course, it was worst timing ever, which was a great thing.
Right. Blessing in disguise. So you cut grass. Did you do anything else during high school?
Anything that anybody needed to make money. I mean, I worked on the baseball fields at North Jackson pulling weeds in the summer.
Yeah.
And again, we played a bunch of sports, but grass cutting was kind of the main driver. I mean, and it was hard. I mean, it's hard, hot work. I mean, everybody that does landscaping gets that, but man, it was so good for me to make money and put it in the bank. And
that's a different feeling. That sweat money is a little different.
Yep.
I agree completely. Sure. All right. So I'm assuming you knew you were going to get into real estate.
Yeah. I mean,
fourth generation. I mean,
I think I was kind of bred to do it. I don't know. I really had much of an
So when
option.
you were young, I should know this because I haven't had anybody on that's had that depth, that many layers of experience. Like nobody in my family was in real estate. We just interviewed Stephen Cook in the timber business, and nobody in his family. His dad was a preacher. Like nobody.
Sure.
So you've been born into that. When you were little, because I was thinking about this yesterday. Like my son, still the summer, so he jumped in the truck with me yesterday, and we went and looked at some land, and like I want him to have those memories. Did anything stick out? Like was Dad always doing deals when you were young, or were you just focused on cutting grass?
Yeah, no. I mean, I definitely, and the later I got in high school, the more I paid attention to it. He would say, we developed this Eckerd's on this corner or this Walgreens on this corner. And like
So he would be intentional and take the time to kind of paint the picture.
Sure.
I think that's huge.
And I used to go to their office downtown, and then he was on Lakeland Drive. And, whenever he needed me to go with him because they didn't have anything to do with me, I'd go. But, when I got into high school, I started paying attention. He was working on the development at Lost Rabbit at the time, and he wanted to build a model showing the supply and demand of lots and sales and building permits on those lots and then home sales, so you could almost track and graph the supply and demand of both lots being delivered to the market, how fast they were selling, housing permits for building being pulled on them, and then when those houses were selling. So you could track the cycle. Of course, you didn't have all the values on them because it's a non-disclosure state, but you could track the building permit application, which is probably a lie because nobody wants to pay the full building permit fee based on the value of the house. But we tracked it, and you could see in college the downturn coming late in 2007. I mean, you could watch the graphs start to invert to where pricing was falling and housing supply was not being absorbed and started increasing drastically. And we knew it was coming, and they had prepared for it, but it was more than the world was prepared for, and they were prepared for, and ended up.
Man, that's been a common denominator on, I feel like, pretty much all of our Comcast.
Selling for Comcast?
No, I'm not selling for Comcast. The reason Comcast on my mind is because I keep getting emails that my service is out at the office. Podcast. That's been a common denominator on our podcast. The 08, like everybody's business is like it hits a hinge point at 08 and 09, and it's been very interesting to see and hear everybody's story, how they adapt and overcome, and how that just pinch point there, how much it affected everybody. And like I'll reiterate, I got in real estate in 2011, so I unknowingly a really good time to get in because I hate to say it out loud, but I think if I'd have got in 07, 08, 09, I would not be in the business.
Oh, you've been fine. Man, it drastically changed my perspective. I mean, our family had done a whole bunch of development. They did the Lowe's shopping center out in Flowood, and then the JCPenney Market Street Flowood development. And like you see all these big developments and people and life and construction, and then they flip them and make money, and you think, I'm going to do that. Mm-hmm. And then you catch it on the backside when everybody's bleeding.
Right.
Every time you turn around, it's like,
no one a part of that.
It literally has made me, maybe if Starbucks came and said, build me a 20-year ground up facility, I'd build it for them. But I have no interest in being a ground up developer because I've seen how bad that catches people when you're not expecting it, and won't ever be. And it's directly related to when I started in the business. I mean, it was the worst time to get into real estate, and it drastically changed what I did when I got to Memphis after college too. I mean, the whole thing has kind of carved how my career's gone.
Yeah, no, like back to your point, I mean, kind of blessing in disguise, being able to see that and stay insulated and not take the risk that we all want to take.
Sure.
I mean, that's definitely, man, that's interesting. All right, so you got out of college and you mentioned Memphis. So what happened?
I interviewed like 40 times between my.
So this is what you graduated what year?
2008.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
I graduated 09, so like, and I said it on my podcast too, there's like the career fair was non-existent at the Hump.
No, there was nothing.
So, all right, so how'd you do that?
I interviewed probably 30 times, literally from Miami to Seattle, Washington. Every big brokerage team and every big brokerage firm and every developer. Looked really hard at Chattanooga, looked really hard at Dallas, Texas, and visited the CBRE team in Memphis. And Frank Quinn and Johnny Lamberson were the investment sales team, and Terry Radford and Melissa Russell were the investment sales team, which is basically the team that sells big, complex, multi-tenant office buildings or big warehouses, or and they're selling them to people that have lots of money and institutional buyers and that are sophisticated and, you know, have complex underwriting. And when I interviewed, I mean, I was doing my research before the interview, and they had sold like $400 million worth of real estate in 2007. And I was like, get my calculator out, you know, can run the math on that. These jokers are making a bunch of money. And so I went to interview with Frank Quinn, who's still my managing director today and has been a mentor for a long time, which has been awesome. And they were like, we don't really have a spot. I was like, well, great. I'm coming like 2 Mondays. Let's make a spot. You know, I want to be on your team. And I want to learn from you and tell me what it takes. And so they were kind enough to give me an internship for close to 18 months at $10 an hour. No days off, no vacation, no benefits.
Where are you staying?
So I got a friend that was living in Memphis at the time that basically just let me stay in one of the rooms in his condo for $300 a month.
I was just gonna say $10 an hour doesn't equate to Memphis apartment.
Nope. And so they gave me a job, and I told them when I interviewed, I said, you will never beat me to work and you will never leave after me. Like, I want this job. There's nobody in the world that's going to work harder than I am. Give it to me. And so I kind of like boxed them in, and they had to give me a job. This poor kid out of college with no money and
hungry.
And so I worked on the investment sales team for about a year, and then I started splitting time between the industrial, which is the warehouse team, that focused on tenant representation. So anybody looking to buy a building and or rent space, we would go out and put a survey together in the market for them, help them break down all the economics, tour the market with them, and help them negotiate a deal. So industrial tenant representation, and then the landlord office representation. So it was a 5 million square foot office portfolio that we advertised to the market and made cold calls to recruit people. And they put me in downtown Memphis, which was an extremely challenging place to be at the time. And back to a question a minute ago about like, what did you learn from '08? Like, these guys had all just had the phone ringing and were just knocking down deals prior to it. And I got there and was starving to death and had no shame and just burned the phones up. I mean, it was almost a game, you know. I would call Hopper Properties, and Gina would answer the phone. I'd be like, hey, is Mr. Hopper there? And she'd be like, who's this? You know, gatekeeper real quick to pick up on it. And by the end of the time I was doing it, I would find out her name was Gina, and I'd put a calendar reminder in 2 weeks. And I'd call her and be like, hey, Gina, this is Grant. Is Paul there? And like, you just learn the system and how to get through the game. And we signed a deal with Le Bonheur downtown for 20,000 square feet. And it was the largest new deal to downtown Memphis in like 15 years or something. And I was on a cold call to the CEO of the hospital. I had no idea what I was doing, had no shame, just called him. It's like, man, we got a space. You got to see.
Wait a minute. So you're trying to get in touch with the CEO of Le Bonheur, and just cold calling, and you got to him.
Got to him. And so we did that deal, and my bosses were all like, this is the biggest deal downtown seen in like 10, 15 years. And I was like, great. Is that a good thing? Like, how much do we make? You know?
I'm not here for singles.
Yeah, what do we do next? So it really, the first part of my career, I had no option but to grind. And
You were walking tall after that deal.
oh man, yeah, but I was right on to the next 500 square
Right,
foot cold call.
right. You're unemployed. You're unemployed as soon as you close it. That's yep.
Starving to death. So the good thing about it was I got to learn the underwriting sales side on the corporate institutional level. I got to learn the tenant representation buyer side, and I got to work the landlord representation on the leasing side. So I kind of got a full 360-degree picture of commercial brokerage during my time in Memphis for about 5 years.
And being with CBRE, I know you've talked about this before, but the majority or a lot of your tenants and buyer representation are national companies. They're not just, it's just totally different than, hey, John Doe, come look at this open house on Saturday.
Sure.
We're all in real estate, but just a totally different sector.
It is, there's 148,000 employees across the globe. One of the phrases people use is we're globally local or locally global or whatever. Like we've got reach, which is a great thing. You could say, you could pick any facet of real estate and there's an expert somewhere in the company that does only that. And you can make a couple calls. And if Paul Hopper wants to develop whatever distribution center, like I can find somebody that's going to say, we've done it 100 times. Here's a playbook, which is a huge benefit. But the company represents like 80% of the Fortune 200 companies. It's a Fortune 200 publicly traded company. And, I've been there for 18 years.
A lot of power behind the brand there.
It is. I think we're the smallest office in the entire company globally, probably. So there may be some perks in the bigger markets that we don't see, but there's good people in every market. I had a law firm here yesterday that we did a deal with recently, called me and said, I really need something in Houston, Texas. Can you help me? And I said, what part of town? They sent me an email. I sent an email. 10 minutes later, we got a call lined up with the Grant Ridgway of Houston, Texas that knows that office portfolio perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
And I hand them off and away they go. So there's pros and cons to everything, but people are great. There's always resources available. And, one good thing about being with a big company like that, during down times and down markets, like there still seems to be deal flow because there's so many people that need to downsize or relocate or sell their building. And, it's harder, I think, when you're on the independent side like yourself during those down markets because there's not as much inbound business. So pros and cons to everything.
Right.
It's been a good ride.
How long were you in Memphis?
About 5 years. Came home December of 2012. Long story, but we sold a big office portfolio. The sales team in Memphis did, including Jackson, Memphis, and Richmond, Virginia. It was 14 buildings. And the Jackson buildings got sold to a guy out of California. And I was like, I know the guy in Jackson. I've been working for him in Memphis. I said, hey, if I move home, can we open a CBRE office? Will you give us that office portfolio to lease for you? That was kind of going to be our anchor. And corporate said, yeah, let's go. So we opened an office January 2013 and been here for 12 and a half years.
Nice. What's your favorite deal to do? Favorite asset class? Favorite?
Man, I really like industrial stuff because it's a lot bigger square footages typically. They're not all giants. But if you call me and say, hey, I need a warehouse, you're going to want to know how close is the interstate, how many dock doors are there, how tall is the ceiling, and what kind of sprinkler system does it have? And if it fits, it's like, perfect, we'll take it. It's not like a house when somebody's spouse does not like the carpet or the
Right, yeah, I wanted to hit on that because that's a totally different, it's not, I hate to say it's not feelings involved, but it's just a numbers deal. It's just business versus, to your point, like, there's factors that make people buy or not buy a house or a piece of recreational land that's emotional purchases for the majority of it. If it was all based on just getting a deal, then everybody would live in South Jackson. But it's people like to buy what they want. But in your industry or your sector of it, it's just nuts and bolts. What's it?
Hawkins Field's a great example of that. Inside the 220 loop, the Hawkins Field Airport, it's one of Jackson's old 1960s industrial park. There's a lot of concern about Jackson and crime and whatever, which I feel like we are turning the corner on. But that industrial park is state occupied because it's close to I-20, I-220, I-55, and these guys running from Dallas to Atlanta with trucks, drop it off and pick it up and go.
Right.
You know, the biggest emotional side of it, I would say the second thing I like best is office, because I did so much of it in Memphis, and it's just not it's second nature now. But the most emotional part of the office side is, where do I live and where's my kid's school? Like, how far am I from where I need to be?
Oh, yeah.
So it's just a distance,
Some other variables.
Yeah, proximity to where I want to be and where I live and how far is the commute. And that's part of the reason that Madison County has done so well on the office side, and it's almost completely occupied, is because of the growth, residential growth this way, heading north into Madison and Flora and Gluckstadt.
Awesome. All right. Let's see. What else you want to talk about?
Man, I don't know.
So you like to hunt and fish.
I do like to hunt and
do all
fish. Been married for 15 years. Sorry, Lauren, took a minute. Married to a girl named Lauren from Tupelo. I got 3 little girls. And I already will talk about deals with my daughters.
Right.
Like, hey, man, let me show you how this works. And with girls, it's a little different because I can't buy my 10-year-old daughter a lawnmower and be like, get to work, right? I mean, I'm not saying she couldn't do it, but it's just different. So, like, yesterday she said, hey, I want to make some money this summer before school gets out. And I want...
How old is she?
10. And I want to buy this stuffed animal or something. And I said, here's what we're going to do. Let's walk around and talk about it, figure out how to make some money. And the green curb address thing with white letters in front of everybody's house is in terrible shape in my neighborhood. The kit off Amazon's like $16, and she loves art. And I was like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put something in everybody's mailbox with a flyer with your picture and tell them for $20, we will come clean and paint their numbers, and you can use art and you can use the stencil kit. And you're going to pay me back the $16 for that stencil kit on Amazon.
Oh, I love it.
And like, the wheels are turning, and it's no different than a real estate play.
Right.
You're going to borrow money from the bank or an investor. You're going to buy a building, going to pay them back. The rest of it's free,
Oh, that's good. And I love the way you frame that up for her, and the paying back part. I mean, just to instill the basics there. Golly.
And to make them wait. I mean, she has asked me 600 times in the last 3 days to just front the money and buy the stuffed animal and let her repay me. And I was like, you got to go get it. You can't borrow it on the front end. It creates problems, Got to get the money first.
Right. How do you balance personal life and business? I know
We've talked
because
about
we're in the same gig, and it's 24/7. Eat what you kill, and you love what you do, and in the world of just people want instant gratification. They want you to be there every drop of the hat.
Man, if any listener has that playbook, I'll pay you a lot of money for it. It's a fine line because life is really expensive, and tuition is really expensive, and mortgages are really expensive, and like, you have to make enough money as the provider for your family, but not at the sacrifice of your kids' time with their parents and well-being. And it's much more important for my kids to see how a dad should love a mom and how a dad should treat the daughters. And again, it's especially heavy with me because they say girls want to marry somebody that treats them like their dad treats their mom, right? And like, that's a lot of responsibility in today's world with 3 girls. And so I think about it all the time. And like, while I would love to be a billionaire, like, I wouldn't do it at the expense of being a good dad and good husband. And I go through a lot of swings, especially in the last 5 years since my kids have started growing up, trying to keep myself in check. But it's hard because I'm a driven person, and I like to grind, and I like to work hard, and I like to make money. And great example. Spring break, Lauren called me and was like, hey, let's go to Dallas and do the zoo and the aquarium. And I was like, I got a client coming to town, can't do it. And she called me on the way to Dallas. Her mom went with them, and she said, hey, I'm not fussing, I'm just telling you, we got 7 more spring breaks with Lucy. And it hit me like a ton of bricks, dude. And I was like, thanks. I needed to hear that. I'm in for the next one. And so balancing like taking care of your clients and your customers and making sure you're timely in your response and making sure that you're a good dad and you're a good husband. It's a really, really hard line. And I don't know that I do a good job of it, but I think about it every day. Every day. And it's a lot of responsibility to do good for your clients and be a good dad and husband too. So
Right.
if you got any advice on that, Paul?
No. Look, I was asking you for a reason. That it's a slippery slope, but I think nobody's got the playbook, but I think we're all doing right by thinking about it. If it's on the forefront of your mind, I mean, it's there for a reason.
Yeah.
And, just trying to, every year me and Gino try to pick a word for the year. I know a lot of people do that. And mine, it was either 2 or 3 years ago, was intentional, and just trying to be intentional with everybody, but with your family. And just, if you take the time to be intentional, then you're going to check those boxes more times than not. And so I think you do a really good job of that. It is tough, man. And it's the hamster wheel we're in. It's only going to get harder and harder. You get older, you get more deals, you get more, everything's growing. But at the same time, to your point, you're losing time with the kids. And it's, it's elementary, but I just always go back and look at if you look at it through the lens of, would you trade places with an 80-year-old man for $80 million? Nobody would take more than an eighth of a second to say, no, there's no way.
Nope. Yeah. I don't know. And the irony is like the beginning of our careers, you're going to sell 100 houses that are $100,000. You're going to just grind every transaction out. And the older you get, the more you try to be selective, which, you made the comment to me 18 months ago, my goal this year is to get some of my time back and figure out how do I get time back. I've thought about it a lot since then. And but it's hard to tell somebody can't help you, or, and a lot of times that's one of the benefits for working on a team is there's usually somebody that's got a little bit of capacity. But figuring out how to get time back and do less deals that are bigger deals as your career expands, I think is important, because otherwise we're going to look up at 70 years old and have a triple bypass and be no good for anything with a big pile of money.
Right.
It ain't worth it. So
I agree. All right. Well, let's see. What else? We got to talk about something with real estate. What do you want to talk about? Personally investing in stuff?
I would say I really, really like, and this goes back to
Let me stop you right there and tell you what's on my mind. I love how me and you bounce stuff off of each other. We talk pretty much every day.
Sure.
Which,
and it's very ironic because we do the same thing in kind of parallel fields.
Very parallel, but I knew nothing about commercial, to kind of reframe my deal. Nobody in my family's in real estate. I came on, worked with a residential broker. I learned land by myself. I did learn residential under a broker, but I never had a commercial broker. And I feel like I'm speaking because we have a lot of realtors that listen to this podcast, and I think I can speak for a lot of the realtors in the home and land sector. Is like commercial is almost kind of spooky. Like you don't understand. You start getting
the same.
When we call y'all are always intimidative. It's like, what's your cap rate, NOI, and it's like, how do you kind of get in that? And I really appreciate the way that you're an open book. You take the time over the years. You've taken the time to explain different things to me, because I'll bounce. I sent something to you the other day actually, and get your feel on it, and you pied me in the face, which is what I want you to do. You're like, why in the world would you buy this? It says zero income.
Yeah,
go find something else. Yeah. Like, I need that kind of stuff, and because we're always back and forth underwriting potential deals together, and just I think giving back to other people and trying to help the next person. We've talked about that, instead of just trying to protect the nut.
No doubt about it.
Like being open, helping the next younger agent or whatever, there's going to be benefits with that. And the synergy again, our industries are our sectors of the industry are two totally different deals. But somehow there's synergy there, because my guy that's buying 1,000 acres on the Mississippi River probably has enough money to go buy a commercial building through you.
Sure.
And so,
or together. And so we have done a transaction together where Paul represented a group buying a building that I sold to them, and like nobody got their throat cut. It probably, it was a good deal. Everybody won. My recommendation to people on the residential side that are working on the friend's commercial, need is to find somebody, be transparent first. Like, hey, I work for Hopper Properties, big in the residential sector, hadn't done a whole lot in the commercial world. You kind of got two options. One is to do what we did and do the transaction and do it slowly and methodically and make sure you're paying attention and that the person is somebody that's not going to screw you and or your client. Because you got a reputation to maintain as an agent.
100%.
Or second, call a commercial broker, me or anybody else, doesn't matter, and just say, hey, like, could we tag team this and would you work through this process with me, right? And the agent may not get the whole fee like they did if they did it themselves, but the education the next time is going to make them a whole lot more confident that, hey, I've done this, I've got the spreadsheets, I've got the playbook, I know how to help underwrite it. If somebody calls me that has no business transacting a big commercial building, like
it doubles your workload.
But at the end of the day, my responsibility is to get my client a sale for as much money as I can get them, and in a good deal. And like, you can accomplish both those things. Parties are only willing to pay what they're willing to pay, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
The transaction will happen or it won't. But when somebody calls me and has no clue what they're doing and is intimidated and wants to start trash talking the listing or our price or whatever, and like doesn't have any idea what they're doing, like it's immediate. You pick them out. It's not
right. Yeah.
It's like, hey, like, let's work together on this. And happy to tell you about why we have it priced like we priced and what some of the comps are. And
yes, we've talked about that a lot of times already on this podcast. Is if you will go into something that you don't know and throw your hands up and say, look, I don't know. If I say, hey, Grant, look, I saw your listing. I'm working with a guy. He's very capable of buying it. He's interested in it. Look, I don't know anything about this. To your point, will you just help me? Let's talk through this. You are going to be more than willing to help versus
cutting your throat if you want to come after me on day.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I could shred you. You don't know anything about this.
And it's the same inverse. Like, we send stuff to Paul on the land side because like that is his wheelhouse, and we have a referral system. And if he needs something, if we have a client that's like, hey, I need to sell this 80 acres, like I could do it and I could figure it out and I could scrounge around and I can dig it up, or I can send it to Paul and make a referral on it and know that it's going to be sold quickly and for top dollar and it's professionally done and our clients are going to be handled appropriately. Like, there's something for.
Well, it's just like you mentioned in-house with CBRE. Yeah. There's a specific expert for every field. And getting out of your own way and taking your time and going and focus on what you're good at, there's real value there.
No doubt about it. And I, again, the older we get, the more I want to try to focus on what I feel like I'm good at and where I think I add the most value to our clients and where I think I make the most money, and hand the rest of it off.
Yeah.
And it just,
Yeah. So your $3, you think fifth generation?
I'd love it.
I know you're batting for it.
I worked with a couple female commercial brokers when I was in Memphis, 2 or 3 of which were very good and very sharp. Terry Radford on the investment sales team I worked for up there is still there, and she's probably the smartest human on the entire earth. And like, it doesn't matter if you've got a PhD from Harvard, like she'll beat you on the numbers. She is so good. And you see people like that have accounting backgrounds, and then you see people that are okay being vulnerable and being told no and selling. And when there's a female that's showing somebody through an industrial warehouse, there's something about it. Like, it's not weird. It's not abnormal, but like I don't know. It's not like I'll give you an example. I feel like for all you land guys that listen to any Paul's podcast, y'all need to get along. I feel like land guys.
We do talk about this.
Land guys do not want to do deals together and they want to badmouth each other online. Like, go have a beer and do a transaction and split the fee and go to dinner with your wives and have fun instead of talking bad about each other all the time.
I could not agree more.
Like 95% of the commercial world. I mean, there's always going to be people that get burned and have grudges, but 95% of the guys are like friends and will hang out and cook out and fish and whatever. And I don't feel like
I've never understood that. That's a really good point. I know we've talked about that in the past, but it blows my mind because there's some brokers around here that have been in the game far longer than I've been in the game, and they have not shown one of my listings, over all the years. And I'm like, you can't tell me you didn't have one person along all these years even inquire about
you either hold
one of
a
our
grudge
listings.
or are jealous or, and I'm not talking about anybody specifically, but why not just make money and have a good time doing it? There's plenty of pie.
I can't think of another situation that's better than another broker going and showing the property and selling it. Like, be more than happy to.
And landlords that want to write the check to the tenant's buyer or broker, like, are the smartest ones. Pay them an extra point.
I'm glad, and I was kind of wondering where we were going to go with this, and there's so many rabbit trails, but just staying within the real estate stuff, I was listening to another podcast the other day, and I'm not saying this to like prop up, we should be paid full commission on everything. But if you've got a good broker that has spent years and years learning, like you, I could tell you 3 variables. I could say, hey, I want to buy something in Rankin County, this square feet, but you've got so much data in your head.
Yep.
And I've heard you do it because you're a human calculator. Yep. You can spit off, that's invaluable. So, because we get this all the time, and I actually have gotten to where I love this whenever I'm doing it right now with somebody. We're about to list a really big piece of property.
If you're listening, don't take it personal. Just list it and pay him.
Exactly. That's where I'm going with this. Like, pay the man or woman or whoever it is. Right. The value that you will get out of that is probably going to exceed, because like people all the time, because we're 7% on land. And we're 6% on houses. Mm-hmm. And the first call we get is, I got a buddy that'll do it for 4%. Would you do that? I'm like, no. Mm-hmm. First off, you called me. But I've got a guy's number that'll do it for 3%.
Yeah.
You want his number?
Yeah.
And when you say that, they're like, there must be value here. And when you start to unpack that, and it's like, hey, this is the amount of money we spent on marketing. What's your other broker looking at doing? Hey, here's my network of contacts over the years. Here's the number of off markets.
Here's how many transactions we've done. Yeah.
Right. So
you're going to pay for yourself. Right. You're going to pay for yourself. And that's what I tell people. Like, you could ask the same guy trying to negotiate you down. Like, you have an air conditioner going out in your house next week. Like, I saw Chuck in a truck that watched somebody replace an air conditioner one time. He'll probably do it for $150. 50-50, your house is going to burn down, right? But we can get it swapped out for cheaper. I mean, and at the end of the day, like, you want to do business with people that want to do business with you and see value in what you're doing. And like anybody can put any piece of real estate on the market and sell it for sale by owner, piece of land, a commercial building. But like, if I'm representing a buyer and you're for sale by owner by the landlord, like, I have all the data. It's a non-disclosure state. I know what people will pay. I know what lending rates are, what returns are happening in the market today on transactions. Like, you're toast. You're toast. And I mean, like, you would be so much better off to pay a fee, 5-6%, whatever, and get a fair market deal than try to squeeze it. And I got it, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, we all want to save money where we can, and there's times where that's applicable, and you do your due diligence with everything. But that real estate is nothing to play with, man. That's the biggest asset in most people's lives, and to try to shave a point here or there and get some subpar marketing and get subpar experience, it's not worth it. No. And again, you can get perfect example. We did a deal the other day, and it was, full rate commission, put it out there. We do our song and dance. We get multiple offers. house goes above list price, not only did you save money paying me full commission versus a discount brokerage, I made you money by putting you. I knew because of all the data, the experience, the phone calls we get, all that thing in a melted together. I knew what it took to create the scenario to where, that's what I tell people, in a perfect storm, and I'm not promising this, but my goal is to get it to where if I can have multiple parties looking at the property at the same time, that's the perfect storm. It's going to force one or the other or both to show their hand, and this is the most I'm willing to pay for it. And turns out we ended up making you money. So,
and you know what else it shows? I tell people all the time, they want to argue, well, my appraiser said this, or I bought it for this, or like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I think. Sure, I've got thousands more transactions than you and 20 years of experience doing it. Like I'm betting on me instead of you. But reality is, it doesn't matter what I think it's worth or what you think it's worth. If we get 3 offers from the market's going to tell you what it's worth because it's only worth what somebody will pay for it.
The market's going to tell you. I agree.
So if I get 2 or 3 people there, that's what it's worth. And if you think you can get 2 or 3 people there to pay you maximum dollars without me, like, be my guest.
Right.
Get it. I'm going to go into another one. Like I don't. And it's not to sound arrogant or prideful.
No, for sure.
But you don't walk into your cardiologist that's about to do bypass surgery and say, "Will you do this for $10,000 instead of $40,000?"
Yeah, or after the surgery,
years experience and 10 years of training in school, and like, it's their profession. I mean,
right? Yeah, you don't wake up after surgery and say, "How long did you work on it?"
Yeah,
I'll pay you by the hour.
Right.
You pay the man,
right,
or woman, or whoever.
Yeah,
I agree, and that's always a sticking point because it's, you've had all these. Well, probably not in your sector, but in ours, we've had all these discount brokerages that have shown up over the years. And what that stems from is there's such an influx of new agents coming in. Everybody through COVID, everything was selling left and right. And so now everybody wants to jump in and be a realtor, and because it's easy money, quote unquote. But to get your feet wet and get in the business when there's 2,000 other realtors in central Mississippi, the only way you're even going to get in is by coming out and doing some type of cheap commission, discounted. So we saw an influx of that flat rate. And again, I'm not singling anybody out, and everybody's got their business model, but I'm looking out for the consumer and their net at the end of the day. And it's just not worth it, man. Like you're giving up stuff, be it the marketing or whatever. And too, a lot of times the client that wants to chop the commission up, that's just the beginning of the drama of the deal. Mm-hmm. If they're going to be that way on the front end, I've got a guy right now that is wanting us to list his house, and he's just like, I told him what the commission is, and he said, well, if we get down to it and we got to negotiate the price, it's going to go down. I said, look, if we're not negotiating the commission before I even list it, like, give me a chance to earn my commission.
And hey,
but all that's going to be is you get to a home inspection. It's going to be, well, let's negotiate the heck out of that. And then you go to, all the other terms of the offer. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, to your point, recognize that you've got a professional, or whoever it is, hire a professional that's got the years of experience, because that whole cheap, good, fast, you can pick 2 of them, like, that's a proof of concept.
Man, but you got to be able to tell those people too, the client, like, hey, I understand you want your bottom line as good as you can get it, but do you know how much my paycheck is Friday? Like, we are rowing in the same direction. You don't owe me anything unless I sell this house. Mm-hmm. And I don't get paid unless it sells. And the more it sells for, the more money I make. Like, we're paddling in the same direction.
Right, we're in the same, yeah.
Like, I'm fighting for as much money as we can get because I want to take it home to my wife and kids. Like, it ain't.
Right, yeah.
I'm not competing with you here and fighting for your money. We're working together on this, and I need your help. And, I got a question for you back that you asked if my daughters were going to do it. And we talked about women in the commercial world and how there's just a handful of them for some reason. Is there any like up and coming or strong women that are focused primarily on land? I feel like that is a male dominated industry, and Backing up even further, when we talked about agents on the land side just not wanting to get along and partner and get deals done together and whatever, if there was a female agent that's driving the side by side with your client and telling about the land, I feel like you're going to be much less inclined to want to see who's the bigger dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, hey, let's do a deal together. There's no dominance.
For sure. No, for sure. No, we've definitely seen more females come on the scene in land, and we've hired several of them. We just interviewed Stephen Cook, and his daughter Bowers works with us, and she's doing a lot of land, and
It's awesome.
which she's grown up with, being around the game and hearing the stuff, and that's. I'm not going to push anything on my kids at all, but they will be exposed to it.
Sure.
I mean, it's like yesterday I took Hayes, my oldest son, I took him to a tract of land that me and a guy bought, and we're developing it in the Delta. And he rode with me yesterday, and we got to do all the fun stuff, go get oil change and go to the bank, check on land, whatever. So I took him to this place in the Delta, and it has a cabin on it. It's on the river. It's a beautiful place. I'd love more than anything to keep it, but that's how I make a living, And so I was and he's 6, just turned 6. And so we were leaving and we were out there, I'm sorry. And he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, we're going to sell this place." He starts crying and I'm like, "What is it, buddy?" He's like, "I don't want you to sell this place." And I'm like, "Oh," well, I really don't have a choice. So we went through we're sitting out in the middle of the Delta, just like everybody else is working in the cubicles in the office. And like, we're sitting there having, like, I took the opportunity to explain parts of real estate to him and the whole process. And we talked about the cabin and just different things. And he's 6 and who knows if it'll even stick, but
it will.
I want to continue to do those types of things and instill that. To your point, it's a phenomenal idea with the painting of the letters and, treating it like the bank and paying it back and all that. And, irregardless of whatever they get into, they're at least going to be well versed in real estate because I'm going to hold real estate forever.
Sure.
So when I die, and even if it's simply, it's worth it to me if they take total different paths to be knowledgeable in real estate for when I kick the bucket, they make educated, smart disposition decisions because, our place up in the Delta, they may not want to keep it, but also don't want to.
Uncle Grant will buy it because they want to get rid of it.
I'm thinking about putting that in my trust, having all right, Grant Ridgway's over all commercial disposition. And man, I think it's exciting, but I'd love to see them in that space.
It is all about the delivery. My daughters, I hadn't had them come on site and cry with me yet, but I've told them, my friend, Mr. John, owns this property, and he said that if we can sell it, find somebody to buy it, he'll give us $10,000, and we can. That fishing rod you want, we'll go buy it with that $10,000 if we can find somebody to buy it. So we don't own it, right? It's not ours. Right. It's Mr. John's, our friend. But he said if we can find somebody to buy it, he'll pay us. You think we can find a buyer? Yeah, they're thinking about that fishing pole. And it starts to connect those dots of how you get money to pay for something.
Yes.
And how the industry works. And
I like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All education. I hope one of them does it with me.
That would be fun. It'd be really fun.
I do. Maybe they can take some of the load off, make my chest quit being so tight all the time.
Well, Grant, I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate our friendship, and I'm looking forward to doing some more deals with you. So
likewise, bring them on to the commercial side. Appreciate the Hopper Properties hat and the opportunity to be on. Any of you people that got any questions on the commercial side, call me.
Give him a call.
If you got land, call Paul. Call Paul. What is it? Oh, yeah, better call Paul.
Call Paul. There you go.
Paul. There's all kinds of ways you can make calling Paul. Better call Paul, but call Paul for land. Call Grant for commercial.
There you go. Thanks, Grant.
Appreciate it, Paul.